There are few single-season shows out there in the verse that have quite the same cult following as Firefly. But will the space western ever get the revival it deserves? Well, we hate to damage your calm, but the chances don't exactly look good. The cancellation of Firefly was tragic. When Fox began airing episodes of what was Joss Whedon's latest series, they did so completely out of order. How you do that with only 14 episodes at your disposal seems beyond comprehension. And instead of kicking off Firefly with the very necessary pilot episode titled Serenity, Fox started with the second episode, called The Train Job. Additionally, Objects in Space, the last produced episode of Firefly, originally intended as a Season 1 finale, was aired just before the pilot, and 3 episodes never aired during the original Fox run at all, instead premiering in the United Kingdom the following summer. Eventually, the Science Channel aired all 14 episodes in order, though Firefly had been off the air for nearly a decade by then. So, what took Firefly down? Though the show was mostly well received by critics, high praise sadly wasn't enough to keep the Serenity afloat. Aside from out-of-order episodes and Fox's apparently unrealistic expectations, the real reason Firefly was canceled was low ratings. So, rather than continue to try and build a bigger audience over time, Fox axed the show before it even got off the ground. Airing on Friday nights, a time slot sometimes referred to as the Friday night death slot, didn't help either, which set the series up to fail. That, along with poor marketing that failed to capture the rebel spirit of the show, contributed harshly to the untimely fade to black of Firefly.
No power in the verse can stop me.
Firefly fans, dubbed Browncoats after the band of rebels that some of the main characters once belonged to, are unlike any other. It's because of their love for the series and its characters that the franchise has been able to continue in any capacity for over 20 years. After it failed on Fox, many viewers flocked to DVD racks and online marketplaces to express their continued interest in the show. Miraculously, Firefly DVD pre-sales sold out on Amazon within 24 hours. Fans continued to campaign for Fox to bring Firefly back for another season, sending in letters, emails, and petitions to get their favorite show back on the air. While Fox didn't budge, others noticed their efforts. Recognizing the fans' dedication to the story, Universal Pictures acquired the film rights and greenlit a feature set to bring back the Firefly cast and crew, citing the show's impressive DVD sales as enough potential to build something bigger. In 2006, a documentary about fan involvement in Firefly and continuing the story, called Done the Impossible, The Fans' Tale of Firefly and Serenity, was released as a love letter of sorts to the show and its audience. Adam Baldwin, who played Jane Cobb, one of the Serenity's resident mercenaries, narrated the film, while Jewel State, who played Serenity engineer Kaylee Fry, provided some voiceover work. Ever since, Firefly fans have continued to show up and support their show, constantly hoping to fund or inspire a revival of some sort. When shows are canceled, usually that's it. Occasionally fans are able to save shows for a time, or they're revived later on down the road. But following those impressive DVD sales and momentous fan outcry, Firefly returned once again to the screen. The big one this time. In 2005, just a few years after Fox's untimely cancellation, Universal Pictures released the sci-fi action feature Serenity, a continuation film set to conclude the series' mythology and satisfy those outspoken fans who hoped for more. Though Joss Whedon originally planned a multi-season series, Serenity allowed Whedon and his cast to revisit the verse yet again, even if for a final time. The epic space western genre mashup of the series translated masterfully to the big screen. Not only are the visuals a massive upgrade from the television show, but the increased budget of a feature film allowed Whedon to tell a bigger and more mythology-heavy story than could have been told on the small screen. Well, at least not at the time. Though it was released about 2 years after the series ended, the events of Serenity pick up only 2 months after the impromptu series finale of Firefly, continuing the Alliance's pursuit of River Tam, played by Summer Glau, and the rest of the crew. After DVD sales for Firefly skyrocketed, it seemed like a good idea to continue the short-lived series as a feature film. For many, there was even hope for a continuing Serenity franchise with multiple cinematic installments. Rumors circulated about a potential sequel, but nothing ever came of it. After hoping DVD sales for the feature may do for the film what they did for the television series, a Serenity sequel faded out of Universal's preview. On the since decommissioned, Joss-themed Whedon-esque website, Whedon told fans, "There's no sequel, no secret project regarding Serenity or some such. I'm not even sure how anyone thought there was talk there." With that, the hopes of many were dashed. But in 2015, Whedon was singing a slightly different tune when talking with Empire about the potential future of the franchise. He went on to remark that although he didn't foresee a theatrical sequel, he still hoped for a television revival of Firefly one day. Reiterating his love for the IP, he told the outlet, "As long as I was able to service the characters with integrity and had enough money so that I wasn't hampered, then I would love to return Serenity to TV. There could be a series, there could be a mini-series, there could be all sorts of things. I'm not ruling anything out." Although a sequel to Serenity wasn't likely to happen, some sort of live-action continuation of Firefly seemed possible somewhere down the line.
Could be bumpy.
Always is.
The continued questions of how one can or should divorce the creator from the creation are tough to answer. For some, separating the art from the artist, especially in a television context in which hundreds of artists are involved, is relatively easy. For others, it's nearly impossible. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, there's no denying that the more recent controversies surrounding Joss Whedon made it increasingly difficult for Firefly to return. Ever since Vulture published a 2022 article that produced several allegations from cast and crew members of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Dollhouse, and Justice League, the Firefly creator has been keeping a much lower profile. While Whedon wasn't the only filmmaker associated with Firefly, he is the creator of the franchise and responsible for writing several episodes as well as the film, which he also directed. But some are still willing to work with Whedon again in the future. In an interview on the Inside of You podcast, Nathan Fillion noted that it would be heartbreaking if Firefly continued without its creator. Regarding the previously mentioned allegations, Fillion said, "That was not my experience with that man. I would work with Joss again in a second." Wherever the truth about Whedon lies, he has nothing coming down the Hollywood pipeline, making the chances of any more on-screen Firefly adventures slimmer. But despite Whedon's troubles, many of the cast members want to continue on. Depending on who you ask, you may get different answers regarding the likelihood of more Firefly. Both Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, who played pilot Hoban Washburn, have starkly different ideas on a revival. According to Fillion, who has said his time on Firefly was the best job he ever had, there's no real need for any more adventures. In a 2015 interview with Esquire, he admitted, "We were able to have a nice kind of final goodbye. We had closure, which is more than a lot of people with canceled shows can say." Nevertheless, in his 2022 interview with Michael Rosenbaum, Fillion revealed that he'd jump at the chance to play Mal Reynolds once more. On the flip side, Alan Tudyk adamantly wants a Firefly reboot, but with a twist. Tudyk told Esquire that, quote, "It's going to take a little time," saying that he likes the idea of it in another 10 years or so. He believes that Clint Eastwood's Western epic Unforgiven is the best model to follow, just with Fillion's character at the center.
So, you gonna ride shotgun with me, help me fly?
That's the plan.
Conversely, actress Summer Glau commented that she was torn on a revival since Firefly is an underdog story at heart. She told the Convention Junkies, "I think that part of the magic about Firefly is that it didn't last, and that all of the fans are the ones keeping it alive." Though Glau said she wouldn't be able to stay away from a reboot, she isn't sure if the magic could be recaptured.
You've lost her, lad. Be gracious.
Of course, not every Firefly star actively wants to come back for a full-on revival series. Morena Baccarin, who played Serenity tenant and high society sex worker Inara Serra, has expressed that she's not overly interested in returning to play the character again in the future. On a 2023 episode of Inside of You, she told Michael Rosenbaum, "I like laying some things to rest. We should do a reunion, or we should do like a podcast or talk, or like a one-off like Friends did. That'd be fun, right? I don't really need to resuscitate the show for me." Baccarin was speaking of Friends the Reunion, in which the original cast reunited on the original set to reminisce on their time with the series. While many had hoped for a narrative continuation of Friends, the cast reunion special is as close as we're likely to get. With that in mind, a Firefly reunion special might be the most practical way to bring the beloved cast back together. In the late 2010s, Fox thought about pursuing a Firefly revival. It turns out, Fox exec Michael Thorne is a big fan of the series and, like many other fans, wants a revival. During that time, Fox was reviving previous hits such as 24 and The X-Files for limited runs, and the network reportedly looked at bringing back the space western too. Thorne told The Wrap in 2020, just after Disney purchased 20th Century Fox, It had come up before, but we had the Orville on the air, and it didn't make sense for us to have, as a broadcast network who is very targeted, to have two space franchises on our air. Of course, the Orville soon moved to Hulu, which opened the door for a Firefly return. But Fox doesn't seem to have pursued it any further. While dubiously sourced, clickbaity rumors of an in-development PG-rated Firefly reboot for Disney Plus, with a new cast and no involvement from Joss Whedon, elicited an all-too-predictable fan outrage. No new information, rumored or otherwise, has emerged regarding the matter since roughly 2021. Considering that Disney Plus already has a popular space western series you might have heard of called The Mandalorian, the mouse doesn't seem to have an immediate demand for more Firefly.
You gotta make do with what you got.
Tying into the release of Serenity, Dark Horse Comics published a miniseries titled Serenity: Those Left Behind, meant to fill in the gaps between the series and the feature film. This eventually led to 2 more limited comic series before catching up with the film's timeline. Leaves on the Wind was released in 2014 and was followed by No Power in the Verse in 2016, officially ending Dark Horse's comic book tenure with the franchise. Since Joss Whedon and company penned Dark Horse's Serenity tales, they're considered more or less canon, filling in gaps from the show's run. Additionally, an ongoing series of Firefly novels have been published by Titan Books, with each story interweaving between the show's 14 episodes. Then, in 2018, Boom Studios acquired the comic book rights and began releasing stories in the verse with their Firefly comic book rebrand. With input from Joss Whedon, writer Greg Pak crafted new adventures for the Serenity crew. Soon, a sequel series titled All New Firefly was launched, ending in December 22 with a one-shot titled Big Damn Finale. While it's unclear if we'll ever get a proper Firefly revival, the comics are the truest continuation of the short-lived space western. While we hope that some other project, like a movie or an audio drama, could be produced somewhere down the line, one thing remains ever clear. Firefly may be gone, but no one can take the sky away.